Hello, hello. Let me check in with From the Ashes by Jesse Thistle, his memoir of fuck. Um, Growing up Métis, um, really fucked up, really fucked up. It's one of these things of like, um, I think it's kind of like it's basically its testimony. It's talking about, hi, I'm someone who almost died. I am somebody whose life was almost completely written off. Um, and let me take you through it. From having parents that weren't that great, to grandparents who tried their best but were, especially grandfather was, basically he'd been raised, getting beaten the shit out of when he did something wrong, and that was what was done. That was what he did to Jesse. Um, him getting into booze, getting into alcohol, just really kind of a lot of self hatred, of just internalized racism, of everything about being native. He just did not want to be, um, a father and a mother who abandoned him. Um, you know, and unfortunately, it getting worse when worse as he gets older, into teen, and young into 20s, of progressively getting worse and worse into alcohol and drugs, um, getting um, getting and it's like basically getting to that point where he becomes the easy target. He's hitchhiking back from Vancouver, and some fucking serial killers, uh, farm boys, pick him up in their truck, take him out into the woods, saying, "Oh, we're gonna find nice place, get you something to eat," stuff like that. Say, "Oh, why don't you carve your initials on this thing?" Hit him, and it's like probably hit him with like a hammer or something like that. Like if he hadn't been able to stumble away and lose him in the woods, he would have been another missing and murdered native person. Um, yeah, so there's that. There's being in a club and getting something probably slipped into his drink, and him waking up having been raped. Um, that kind of that scarring him. There is getting into the harder and harder drugs, basically kind of meth, stuff like that. Basically, his body is consuming itself. Um, and we're only at 50%, and I think we think we're at rock bottom, but I think things are going to be more at rock bottom before, I mean, spoilers, I know by the end of this, he's a professor at a university, and obviously gotten enough together to be able to write this memoir, but also seems to be have pulled himself out of this. But like, just like to know that this is somebody who was, people would see on the streets as like just another drug addict, another, another native guy who's completely fucked up, and would just dismiss him, and just like, nothing on the other side. And it's like, and I mean, unfortunately, you can see family when dealing with drug addicts in general, it just becomes, it's an unending cycle, and the family, you just burn your bridges, and the family just steps away, and that just, you end up with no supports, because you've just exhausted everybody, and you can't, and there's a lot of ways you just can't fault the people around them for that. um but just also all the stuff that, um this is going generationally, of the fucked up people, in these, in this family structures, and how this shit just gets passed along. It definitely got passed along from his mother and father, and yeah, the rest. So that is the first 50% of this book, which it's simply told, it's matter of the fact told, but you don't want this stuff fucking dramatized anymore. That it doesn't need to get dramatized, and that this is what kind of lends it its authenticity. It's like, this is what happened. I'm not gonna try and like be, oh, scary. It's like, no, this stuff is fucking horrifyingly scary as it is, and just like, and just, and the predators around him is also scary. And I mean, he's no fucking sweetheart himself, and he doesn't try and sugarcoat um, how he is at this point. He was a violent, angry child, and he is an angry, fucked up adult at this point. And who's robbing and stealing and dealing drugs. It's like, it's not a fucking angel. But this is just, it's who he. This is, you see the clear line of who he is, and why someone like this deserves AR empathy, and B, a recognition of just like, this shit doesn't come from nowhere. This shit is baked into the history of Canada. It's a larger thing that you should not be just dumping on the heads of Native people in general, Jesse Thistle in particular. It's like, yeah, this is something that's like, yeah, this is what our country is based on. So yeah, that's the first half, and it's really good to it's actually, this is not a, I'm glad that I listened to Jody Wilson-Rabold's her political memoir before this, just to like go with, and here's somebody who actually had the supports, and who was raised, and who had the advantages, and how far she has gotten, and what a fucking wonderful person she is, and admirable, a great leader, and put that with Jesse Thistle, who's seems to have actually pulled himself out of this shit. Like, how much all of this stuff is, how much, what a fucking waste. What a fucking waste. So yeah, I will leave it there. More videos later.